Okay, so I'm back with another installment of Bigots Are Just Being Absolutely Insane. So, in today's installment, we have something close to my home. Wisconsin judge blocks schools district's policy allowing students to choose pronouns. And what could be wrong with students changing their pronouns, you ask? Well, it just is for the dumbest reason. But let's get to the article. And if you like what I do here, I I generally do mostly culture war issues, but on this channel, but basically whatever I see that just shocks me or annoys me to no end, and I come on here to rant about it. So if you like what I do here, please subscribe. That would be awesome. But anyway, back to what is annoying me today. A Waukesha County Circuit Court judge blocked a school district's policy to allow students to change their names and gender pronouns in school, a decision that could set a precedent in Wisconsin parental rights cases. Because that totally makes sense. You know, parents should somehow have a monopoly on a child's use of English. All right, where was I? Judge Michael Maxwell ruled that the Kettle Moraine School District policy violates the right of parents to make medical decisions for their children. It's a pronoun. It's a name and a pronoun. There is nothing medical about it. Do people not know what pronouns are? Well, actually, no. Transphobes generally don't know what pronouns are. Or apparently now they don't know what names are either, because I think I've pointed this out on this channel before. Alexandra could be Alex. That could be either a boy's name or a girl's name. It's not a big deal. Nobody has, well, I'm sure some parents do have a freak out about how dare kids who I gave them this beautiful aristocratic sounding name want to shorten it. I know there are parents like that because people can be really weird. But really, they choose to go by a different name or pronoun, and you consider that a medical decision? How the hell is that a medical decision? Anyway, going forward, Kettle Moraine School District may not allow or require staff to refer to students using a name or pronoun at odds with the student's biological sex without express parental consent. Okay, so much wrong with this. Now, number one, what is the big frickin' deal if a child wants to identify as a certain gender or by a certain name? Because if they're doing it without the parents' knowledge, that's probably because they're afraid the parents are going to freak the fuck out. And if that's the case, well, then making them get parental consent is just going to cause so many problems for the student. And I know I've discussed this before on this channel, that there is a reason why these laws allow to circumvent the parents. It's not because they're anti-parent or they don't think parents should know what's happening in their child's lives. They're saying that the child knows better than the state how safe they feel in their home. And if they feel like their parent would not understand or at worst flip their lid, maybe abuse them, maybe kick them out just for doing this, just for questioning and experimenting, if not outright deciding that they are trans. What makes you think that you know better than them? I mean, yeah, maybe they're wrong. Maybe the parent would be totally fine with it. But you know what? Those people aren't going to freak the fuck out when a law like this happens, because they'll be understanding. The people who are freaking out about this are the same people who would freak out at their child being trans. So this all this does is allow for more abuse and more children being disowned and kicked out of their homes because their parents just cannot handle reality. Anyway, the decision comes after parents filed a lawsuit in 2021 alleging that district officials improperly used a male name and male pronouns to address their 12-year-old daughter without their consent and over their objections. Like I said, called it. I mean, seriously. There is a reason why this child decided not to tell their parents about this, because they object to it. If they object to it, that means they're fucking transphobic. I mean, it could be entirely possible that this child may, I mean, he is 12, so maybe at this point he's got shit figured out, but at the same time, it's entirely possible that he could grow out of it. But how are we supposed to know if he isn't allowed to express himself? We don't. So let him go through this, let him go through the process, and at the end of it, after talking to therapists and socially transitioning, he decides that, you know what, this is just me. I was wrong. I'm not trans. I'm just, I don't know, maybe a masculine female or whatever. That is perfectly fine. At this age, they are still trying to figure themselves out. What category do they fit in? Am I a tomboy? Am I an actual boy? That's perfectly fine. This is not helpful. And the parents are just showing that they're colossal dicks and that they should probably not be parents, because it is not up to you to decide what gender your child is. It's up to them. Because nobody is denying that this child was born female. Nobody's denying that. So, and again, this has nothing to do with medical decisions. No medical decision is being made. Unless you're including therapy. Which, yes, when, as a tangent, it always blows my mind when people tell trans people that, oh, you're mentally ill, you need to seek therapy. What do you think the process of transitioning is? Therapy is a part of it. Nobody is denying that. Just dipshits who have no idea what they're talking about. But anyway, I'm getting way off of the article. The girl was questioning her. Oh my God, they're misgendering her in this article. That poor thing. The girl was questioning her gender identity at the time, but eventually decided that she didn't want to transition, according to court documents. See? Easy peasy. Now, it's entirely possible that she decided not to transition because of the rampant transphobia around her. That's always a possibility. Or she realized after experimenting that she's not trans. But you know what? How she can find that out? by experimenting, by saying, I want to be known as this, I want to be referred to as that. That's perfectly fine. I just do not understand why this freaks people out so much. And if she decided that she's not transitioning because of rampant transphobia, well, then the people around her are colossal pieces of shit. Two conservative activist law firms, oh, I never saw that coming, the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty and the Alliance Defending Freedom, filed the lawsuit on the parents' behalf. This victory represents a major win for parental rights. Does it, though? Will Deputy Counsel Luke Berg said in a statement. The court confirmed that parents, not educators or school facility, have the right to decide whether a social transition is in their own child's best interest. No, it is not for them to decide that. It's not. There's only one person who gets to decide if social transitioning is in their interest. The child involved. They're the ones who know what they're feeling. They figure out and if they need help figuring out, they go to therapy because that's their job. Ugh. It is so amazing. I'm sure these are the same people who think that if she got pregnant as a 12-year-old, that she somehow is old enough to become a mother, but she's not old enough to know what gender she is. Guys, are you sure that that's what you want to say here? All right. The decision should be a warning to the many districts across the country with similar policies to exclude parents from gender transitions at school. No, it is a warning. It is a warning that the transphobes seem to have latched onto something that sounds reasonable, but in the end isn't, for the reasons I stated. If your parents are transphobic, of course they're not going to agree to the child using pronouns or names that they don't agree with. But if they are pro-trans rights and are comfortable with people who aren't them, then this wouldn't matter. If they found out that the child was using pronouns that didn't reflect their birth sex, they would have been like, "Oh, okay, maybe they had an inkling, maybe they didn't," and they'll just tell their kid, "You could have spoken to me. I would have been fine with it. You don't have to tiptoe around this issue with me." Because the only people who have a problem with this are the parents who are freaked out about trans people. All right, let's see here. Kettle Moraine School District Superintendent Stephen Plum said officials will continue to work with all students, parents, guardians, and staff to clarify expectations. We respect the rights of parents and continue to require written parental consent if and when using a student's name or pronouns at odds with the student's sex at birth, Plum said in a statement. Right, because parents' rights trump the rights of the child. Good God. The issue of parental rights around topics such as students' gender identity has become a heated discussion nationally and in Wisconsin in public education. Discussed in political campaigns around everything from curriculum choices to COVID-19 policies to race and gender. Wait, what? Oh, CRT. Okay. Governor Tony Evers vetoed a Parents' Bill of Rights passed by the GOP-controlled legislature in April 2022. The bill would have given parents the right to review instructional materials and determines a child's medical care. The bill also allowed parents and guardians to sue governments and officials who violated those rights. Now, just a moment. All right. So, the right to review instructional materials. I'm sorry. Um, Kids have to learn. If you want to be so proactive in what your child learns that they don't learn anything you don't want them to learn, like, I don't know, evolution or basic biology or whatever, then may I suggest you homeschool them? Oh wait, I think even homeschooling it's required that you have to have some standards. But still, what the hell? Curriculums are not tailor-made for one child. They are tailor-made so everybody can learn the same thing, so everyone's on the same page when it comes to basics like math and history. So you don't sound like a complete lunatic when you're an adult and you try to claim something that isn't true. Things like that. And let's see, the bill also allow and determine a child's medical care. Okay. Again, what about changing your name or pronoun and socially transitioning screams medical care? It doesn't. It doesn't scream medical care at all. And technically, yes, a parent should be able to decide a child's medical care. That's what being a good parent is. Unfortunately, there are plenty of parents who never should have become parents because they are horrible, horrible people. And they care more about the way the world sees them than what is best for their child. Because they assume what's best for them must be the best thing for their child, and they can't grasp that the child is not them. Even if they came from their loins, they're still their own person. So, yeah, on the surface, yes, parents should be allowed um to decide a child's medical care because that's assuming that parents have the child's best interest at heart rather than their own selfish interests. So, yeah, but I can see why people might be like, "Wait, why did he veto that?" But anyway, that is all I have for that article. So, if anyone could possibly tell me how social transitioning is in any way, shape, or form medical, I would love to know how that works. Because, again, that doesn't even involve therapy. I'm not that familiar with transitioning, but that doesn't necessarily even involve therapy. You aren't allowed to get any type of medical intervention without therapy. So I guess that's as far as this child could have ever gone because they couldn't be able to get therapy probably without a parent's permission. And I'm sure the parent would actually, maybe the parent would be okay with it, depending on which therapist. If it was a raging transphobe, I'm sure that they would be perfectly fine with it. They might be totally afraid if it was one from a gender clinic. So, but still, in theory, they do have that. They should be doing what's in the best interest of the child. But unfortunately, when it comes to certain hard button issues, parents seem to be on this idea that because something makes them uncomfortable, that they're going to deny that their child needs that type of care because they don't want to deal with it. Which, may I suggest you don't be parents? if you're not willing to accept that your child isn't you. I mean, obviously, parents have hopes and dreams for their children, but it shouldn't be so strong that it negates what the child is actually going through or how that child is feeling. It should be within reason. So, anyway, I've rambled on enough about this, so I will see you guys in the next video.